Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to Design Exchange with Danny Russo, and I have a special guest with me today. His name is none other than Mr. Barrie Livingstone. And
Ta-da!
me and Barrie have been friends for probably about 3 years now. And we actually met at a party in High Point, North Carolina. And I happened to be wearing this jacket that I call the pop art jacket. And Barrie happened to find a chair that same day that had the exact same fabric on it.
Yeah,
And after that, we ended up becoming pretty really good friends, and we
Fast and
talk all the
Furious.
time. Yeah, and we always run into each other on the road, whether we're in Texas or High Point or wherever we're at. But you have an extensive background, and I don't want to divulge your age,
Man, it's
but
quite right.
I know you come from London, which I love the UK. London's one of my favorite cities. And you ended up in South Beach where you had a store, right?
Yes,
And then you ended up in what I call the Boo, Malibu.
that's what we call it. Yes.
And now you've gotten so successful. Are you guys living full time in Mexico?
Yes, we're full time in San Jose del Cabo, which is a little billionaire enclave about 15 miles north of Cabo San Lucas, and it's on the Sea of Cortez, and it's quite the antithesis of what we've been. But there's a lot of similarities to when I first lived in Miami Beach. Before South Beach was South Beach, it was a little island community. So it's kind of isolated because it's so far south. I mean, it's 1,000 miles south of LA, and there's
Yeah.
the only way to get there really is by plane, you know?
I'm coming to visit. I need to
Yeah,
come there. Miami Beach, South Beach is one of my favorite places. I just love the Art Deco style there. The W Hotel used to be my favorite hotel, but from what I just recently heard, they actually closed during the pandemic and they're renovating the Delano Hotel. So they're probably taking away all of that character that was put in by Ian Traeger and Philippe Stark. Yeah.
yeah.
So but tell us, I know you have an extensive background. You've been on HDTV, you've been on HGTV, you went to Harvard, you've gone to the American Art Institute of Fort Lauderdale.
That's
Did you
right.
go to High Point University as well?
Yeah, when I first started to about 3 years out of school in the midnight, I graduated design school in 1990, in the good Lord's year, the Lord's year 1990, and moved straight away to Miami because that's where it was going on. It was an explosive of rebirth of what became South Beach, obviously, and
Yeah.
then next thing I knew, it was we were going to open a shop with one of my really good friends. We decided we'd open South Beach Design Group because that's what we called ourselves. And it was two of us, and we used some friends that we worked with, and it was South Beach Design Group, which at the time when we incorporated in 1993, South Beach is, I mean, Versace didn't come along till 96. So it was, 95, 96. So we were very
Yeah.
early pioneers, should I say there. But that's what gave me my first taste of having a shop and experiencing, what people when they come in and experience your design. It's a really lovely feeling.
Sorry, I had to turn my heater on because if I have my big heater on, I get background noise. And
Okay.
I'm sure it's like what, 90 some degrees where you're at.
No, I'm actually in a hotel room in Mexico City. It's 65
Oh,
degrees outside and it's going to be 80 in the day.
well, we have about a foot of snow, and it took me
Gosh.
45 minutes to get to work, which typically takes me 8 minutes. And our current temperature, which I'm trying to find right now, I feel like it's maybe 10 degrees.
Oh, good.
Um, and we had a major snowstorm. Um, it's actually 20 degrees and it feels like 9 degrees outside right now.
Wow.
So you're lucky. But tell me about the TV shows you've been on because we're both dabbling in the reality TV world, and you actually did your own show, which you filmed during the pandemic, and I think you filmed it mostly on your own, right? That show where you had to compete against another designer.
Oh, that was
Um,
that. You know what? That was filmed in the summer of 2019. So that was on
oh,
Bravo, and it's called that was on Bravo, and it's
yeah,
called Stream Wins. But I've always been on
bravo.
TV from the beginning. I mean, even in 1993 in Miami, ASID had a channel, believe it or not. It was channel 17, and they only went on 2 nights a week. But I did call-in. They did call-ins because that was the show in the 90s. And there was call-ins, and people used to call in, and I used to keep, I used to keep people talking for hours on the phone, and they loved it. They
That's
absolutely loved it.
funny.
But
I
I wanted to address the High Point University because we got segued. When we realized we were opening the shop, my friend, my business partner's father was our investor, and he said, "You know what?" He goes, "I really want you to go." We researched how do you open a design shop? How do you open a showroom? And High Point University, I don't know if it still has it, but they had a management program of how to manage a successful furniture showroom, and it was almost a 4 week course. It was
you know
26 days, and it was great.
I wonder if they still do that because that's needed. They don't teach these kids a lot, like where to shop for furniture. They don't teach them about what goes on at market. And this podcast that we're doing now, it's geared toward younger designers, and we have seasoned designers on, but we try to cover everything. And that's a great course to have. I don't think they offer that anymore,
Well, Danny, they
but
cover everything from understanding the market where you're at, like what price points to be at, but also like logistics and freight and making
yeah,
sure you've got delivery so that you
yeah,
can deliver and storage. So it was
I
very
can
intense.
I could guarantee you they're not teaching that now because I've been seeing some of the students coming out and they're just like, oh, I thought this was just going to be fun and design. And you don't understand. I mean, 90% of our job is doing paperwork, tracking things,
Well, of
dealing
course.
with all that, all the new stuff going on. But um, yeah, that's so. How long did you spend at High Point
Well,
University?
that was a specific course. It was just a summer
Oh,
course
just
that
of
they
course.
offered once a year. And the interesting thing was that when there was people from Babcock's Furniture, like there was just like
Is
Southern
that
retail.
place still in business? I remember Babcock.
I have no idea, but it was just so weird because there was like, there was like people in their 60s and 70s, and there's me and Chris, who I think we were 25 and 26 at the time. But it was really good because they had real life. We were with everyone else was older than us, and they all had shops. They were all had shops. So we were just about to open ours. So for us, it was really great because we were just taking notes. And of course, because everyone came from all over the country, there was no rivalry, and there was no like, normally you wouldn't sit next to a competitor, so to speak. It's like you and me, like we can exchange through
Oh,
Shopify and whatever. We're
back
completely different markets. And I just want nothing more, than your success, obviously. So
you
we're both in the same boat.
yeah, you've been so encouraging to me and helpful in my whole career. I try to pass it down. But my God, the designers in the 90s and early 2000s, they don't want to talk to each other. It would like, even locally, the designers don't want to communicate and they don't want to have a sense of community. They like want to compete.
Well, I have
And
to tell you, in the Miami Design District in the late 80s, which was very, very, very dangerous, it was like you literally had to have mace. And you used to have to honk your horn. It was like so ghetto. You would honk your horn, and then somebody would press a gate so you could go into it. And there was this designer called Roy Wiesel that I wanted to work with because he was a big interior designer in Miami, but this was in 1986, 87, and it was very, very scary. And we literally, when other designers would see each other, there was on either side of 40th Street, there's an alley in the back, and we said it was like alley cats. Like they would see each other, be like,
is that the same? Is it the same area of the design districts in now? Isn't that the
yes,
Wynwood
yes, it's,
area?
it's gone Glamazon, and it's gone international.
Yeah,
Of course, Art Basil's there, and Wynwood, which was even more Cracktown, is now, that she. So this was we lived through desperate times in the mid 80s.
it was nice back then because designers didn't have the internet, so you actually had to go shopping and go to market, and you didn't have to worry about clients shopping you out or doing this and that. The designers could just say, this is what you're getting and this is how we're doing it. Now everybody has the internet and they want this to look like this, and they don't realize a lot of those things, a lot of those pictures, sometimes they're renderings and don't exist. Sometimes a room could have been done by a high-end designer that isn't within the client's budget. So it's
And also
very,
logistics,
yeah,
especially now, as you know, you've been talking about it on social media. I mean, I mean, now our job now is not only do we have to come up with a fabulous design concept, it's a design concept that we know we can source within a 3 or 4 month, hello. I mean, that's now, and everyone, like we just found out we ordered these fabulous Kenneth Kabonkwe lights that are like $2,000. They're these big, it's the cloud, and we ordered two of them, and we didn't realize until, like, we're expecting the delivery either today or next Friday, because we get deliveries every week. And
but
guess
you
what?
never know.
Well, they only sent one, not two. The other one's on a slow boat from China, so they're going to have to wait another, and it's like, and but thank God people know, because it is in the
Yeah.
news, and we can as designers and purchasers, which are two separate things, but where it's the same office, so it has our name over it, right? But as designers and purchasers and specifiers, we can only be really just this total transparency. It's like, listen, we're middlemen, we're just buying it, and we've got to deal with whatever supply
Yeah.
shortages there are.
A lot of my clients have been really good about it. I'm actually looking on your website right now, and if anybody wants to know about it, it's House of Barrie, HOUSEOFBARRI. And I'm looking at the cloud,
Barrie, Barrie.
BARIE. I'm sorry,
Yeah, House
but
of Barrie.
I love all the stuff on here. You have some great sofas.
Thank you.
Make sure if you are going to this website, don't make the mistake that I did before we talked. Make sure you scroll to the bottom and change the dollar amount from um, you have it. What do you
Mexican
have it listed?
pesos.
You and pay from pesos to dollars because
Well,
I
it's
pulled
very
up like
silly. Danny,
I
we're using Shopify. So some people in America get it in dollars straight away, and we don't know. Some people, I don't know what it is, but some people, it just comes up as being in Mexico.
I
So I'm not
looked at
really
a
sure.
sofa and I'm like, my God, Barry, you're charging $110,000 for this sofa, and then I was in the wrong thing, and I'm like, he's like, no, click this, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
got it. But you
yeah.
have a lot of great stuff on here. So how did this store seem like it came out of nowhere? I just remember the other day, it feels like just yesterday, me and you were sitting we had our own limo bus at Dallas
Yes.
Market. And were mentioning the store, and the next thing I know, you're like, okay, grand opening, here's the store. And it happened very fast. And I've been trying to do a store for the last 5 years, and I just can't find the right space to do it in. How did you end up,
Well,
especially
if it
finding it?
wasn't for, I mean, I am married to the most amazing human being, and if it wasn't for my partner, my life partner, and my husband, Alex, he is a chartered account. He's an accountant by trade. So
Oh,
that's the worst thing we dread as designers
yeah,
is oh my God.
accounting.
Yeah, I mean, and,
Yeah,
and it's something that has to be done. But we had decided during the pandemic. I mean, I think that what happened was everybody had a reset. We've all had a reset, and especially the first 3 to 4 months where we thought we were going to get the plague and die, and I thought they were going to start painting red crosses on doors like they did in the plague in London. I mean, it
yeah.
was horrible because we actually, I remember we were walking, and if somebody was walking the dog, everybody would walk around each other, like into the street or cross over the other side, like we were all lepers. So
Yeah.
what we did was we binge watched like everybody else. And what did we binge watch? HGTV Mexico, and everyone's moving to, oh my God, and it's all these gay couples moving here, and it's these fabulous couples moving there. And I think that in our head, and then we started watching YouTube because Alex is from the Philippines, and
Yeah.
the political climate and what's going on in the States right now, it's not, you try and shed yourself from it, but you can't, whatever side you're on or whatever you're doing, it's just,
Unavoidable.
it's this unavoidable noise, and you can't. So we wanted out. We wanted a foot out the door of the States. And at first we were thinking the Philippines, but it's a 15-hour flight. It's very disconnected, and the
Yeah.
umbilical cord between life in the States and I mean, living in Mexico, it's 2 hours to LA. It's 2.5 hours to Dallas. There isn't a
Is the
direct.
real estate cheaper down there? Like
It
in
somewhat,
Mexico?
but no, somewhat, but no. I mean, you know something. I mean, I have, listen. I have a thwarted perception of reality because I am a California realtor with
I know
Sotheby's,
that's
and
what's
I sell
interesting.
10 million, $20 million houses. Yeah,
Yeah, you're a California realtor. I have the same background as I went to real estate school, but I never got licensed because I didn't like the sales portion of it. But I
right.
remember what they taught us in real estate school is that in California, California is a totally different breed for real estate, same as Florida, because in California, the houses are so expensive, you really never own your home. Is that true still? Like
Well,
you're,
no, a lot of people are paying cash. I don't listen. You have to understand that when so in nice places to live in nice cities to live. Think about it. Like so, let's say the top 1% or the top 3%. But I didn't. I just found out recently that the top 1% is really people making over $150,000 a year. So I
yeah,
didn't really realize that until I was seeing it on TV somewhere. I'm like, really? Like
yeah,
I never thought of I never thought of us as being the top 1%. I mean, you just don't think of it because you just don't. But then there's that top 1% of the 1%, which are the billionaires,
that's who we work. Yeah, that's
and
who
that's
hires us
and
pretty much.
where do people with a large amount of wealth typically like to live? In a place where it's easy to live. So usually climate, it's going to be warm, it's going to be relaxing, and it's going to be carefree. Well, of all the states in the union, the West Coast is the most carefree of the states. And if you want the great outdoors and you want to, I mean, that's why California has become so popular because it is all the things that, I mean, listen, I was in deep depression for 3 months when I left LA. I mean, I love California. It's the best. I think it's
You've
in the
always
world.
told me that
I know,
because
but I think it's the best
I
country
was
in
a
the
little bit jaded by LA.
world.
Um, but
I
you
always
were
feel like remember at the end of The Devil Wears Prada, and I know that you love that. Remember she turned to Anne Hathaway and she said, Darling, everyone wants to
everybody
be
wants
her."
to be us.
And that's a horrible thing to say, but the reality is because everyone looks at LA on TV that it makes you happy. It's the city of angels. It's
Yeah,
sunshiny, palm trees. I mean, it's almost like a state of mind. California is a state of mind, and
there's a
people.
song about that, I think.
I'm in a New York state of mind.
That's
No,
a New York,
that's
yeah,
the
right, New
hotel.
York.
I know.
But yeah, so you got into the store and how many square feet is the store?
It's just about 1,700 square feet, and it's got 16-foot ceilings, and it's all windows at the front, and at the back we have this fabulous big window that faces the Sea of Cortez and Palmilla. We're part of the one and only hotel group is right in the middle of Palmilla, and
Oh,
Palmilla is
cool.
a very high end. There's like about 6 different golf courses around where we are, and it's very much a country club community, but it's for people who are second and third homes, extreme wealth, like the top 1% of the 1%. And every time we land at the airport, and anytime you go to Cabo Airport, people in the know will count the jets at the end. And there were times when they can only fit about 70 jets at the airport at the end, and there were many times where I've got pictures. You can see 55 jets, and we're talking Gulfstream 6s, Gulfstream 5s. These are $65 million planes, and these are privately owned planes that sit there. And now there's a new company called Aero, which you would love. Aero, check it out. They've got these chocolate black planes. It's a Gulfstream 5, I believe.
I've already heard of them.
And
I
they're doing these,
noticed the
yeah, and
black
it's
plane.
$5,000 one way. It seats 20 people, but you can just literally book the night before
Yeah,
and walk on. So I
that's
mean,
really cool.
but there's a very there's a very high vibrational level of human being that is there, and we're
High
it's
affluent, high affluenza,
well, no, I mean,
highly affluent.
no, yes, and the highly affluent people, when you've got that certain amount of money and you get to think about life and how you want to live it, it's wonderful to be around because the worries are different, and for the most part, the people have been really, really, really very, very nice, very warm and open, and they just they appreciate that we've opened because in Mexico most of the things are not as modern or contemporary, and the design is just not even though the Mexican architects are incredible and there's some amazing interior designers that are Mexican, but for some reason on a retail level, like when we started looking at what was available, it's like depressing. It's not, and I don't know why, because the talent is here, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going through your website now, and everything that I'm looking at is very affordable. And
It's all regular retail price.
yeah,
Jonathan
I
Adler,
mean,
Michael Ram. I've got some of my own designs. Like I'm sure you have, Danny. Like there's certain tables and bookcases. There's certain things that
yeah,
you designer like you always like to put into a place because it looks good and you can change the finish or the height, right? So it's been a pleasure for me to actually put some of those things on the floor and have
you've
people buy them. And they've maybe something I designed 15 years ago and it's still relevant.
yeah, you have some great coffee table books on here, great candles, great chairs. Um,
Yeah, the occasional chairs are really occasional chairs, candles, art, art. I mean, that all things that can be to-go items that you can fit in the car,
yeah, and that's great. Um, so how's your traffic down there? You've been open for what, at least 6 months now, right?
We're entering into we October, November, December, January, February. So we're entering into our fifth month. It's just phenomenal. We're very, very pleased. We've received a few commissions to do really nice interior design work. And we've met amazing contractors. I'm working with two different architects and two different contracting companies, and the clients are just it was really weird. With this one particular client bought a house on the beach, and it's just so beautiful, but they staged it like really cheaply, like it looks like
I hate when I see that
yeah, it
when
was just
people.
all very inexpensive white and gray with chrome. Like you cannot do
I
chrome on
saw a 2 million, $3 million penthouse, and they staged it with things from the thrift store. And I'm like, you have all this beautiful wallpaper, marble
yeah.
floors, and then you stage this house literally from the thrift store.
So
And
my client hired me, and when I do a design concept, Danny, like I it takes, because you only get 4 or 5 images to put on a PowerPoint, right?
right,
But
right.
it takes hours to find the right one, and I'm the best Googler in the world when it comes to finding images.
I
It's
know. It's called you're a good sorcerer. That's what I call it.
exactly,
Source
but you know what? The right
sorcery.
image. They say a picture is 1,000 words, and with
Yes.
interior design, it present. That saying. I call it presentation is 9/10 of the law, because it's everything the way it's presented.
Yeah.
So what happened was, when when I sent it to them, it was right before Christmas. Him and his daughter, they were there was like radio silence for the first day, and then I thought, oh my god, they don't like it, because you're always doubting yourself, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then
I'm
he
glad you
couldn't
say that because
say.
we all go through that.
Well, we had a
We
Zoom. We had a Zoom, and they were blown away. He said, we thought you were just, he goes, we knew you were good. He goes, but we thought you were just going to show us like fabulous furniture and great lights and, like fabrics and everything. He goes, we didn't realize that all the, like these walls were in the wrong place, and we had to have a toilet upstairs. Like all the
yeah.
things I just suggested, like, because I walk in the house, and I used to say, I see dead people. Like, you see the things that are wrong. I'm sure you walk into a house and it's like, well, it's this beautiful, you walk in, you're overlooking the ocean, massive living room and the master bedroom upstairs, but there's no toilet upstairs. But there's a washer and a dryer,
I
and
know
by the
exactly.
stairwell, there's a washer and the dryer on the other side of in the closet. So I was like, oh my god! I spoke to the contractor. I said, can we do a little powder room right here? And you don't even notice it. It's a sliver of but it's great, because when you're upstairs now, you don't have to go into his bedroom or downstairs. So yeah, I mean, so
Yeah.
we're enjoying it, and we've been received very well. Let's just say that.
And you're also a published author. We forgot to even bring that up.
Yes,
Um,
I realized when I became a realtor about 10 years ago at Sotheby's, I realized that I would go to the open houses, and I'm like, oh my God, that's a $9,000 wired chandelier. Those are $1,800 dining chairs. Do you realize this is Calcutta gold on the, I mean, who puts a $9,000 slab of Calcutta gold on a kitchen? Well, it's
I
kitchen for
know.
used, obviously, but all the realtors, I realized that the realtors were like, how do you know this, Barry? So I started writing the book, and it's called Interior Design Tips Every Realtor Should Know But Doesn't. So a little Joan Rivers, kitschy, but it's my 68 tips on the things that like, why do I walk into a very high-end home, and sometimes there can be 2 or 3 different types of doorknobs, and then there's
Oh, that
hundreds
drives
of
me
inches of
crazy.
lighting fixtures, or even worse, $5 million house with, there's only 3 lights on the front of a house, usually right outside the front door and on the outside of the garage, right? So are you
Yeah.
telling me you've got $20 fixtures from Home Depot that have cobwebs in them, and this is a $5 million house? But that's normal in Los Angeles. And it's like, I'm trying to educate, like, I think if the house is $5 million, if you spend $500 or $700 on 2 outrageous fixtures on either side of the garage, you're establishing presence. So in Beverly
Yeah.
Hills,
That's your curb appeal.
that happens, and in some of the nicer areas, but you'd be surprised how many homes just are not presented in the best light. So that was my goal with the book, was to literally, not just for realtors, but everyone who's got a house, make them
Yeah.
think about things.
Now, is that book available on
Amazon. If
houseandberry.com?
you go to Amazon.com, just put Barrie Livingstone in, spelled right,
Okay.
Barie, Barrie Livingstone, and it's just Yeah, I think it takes 4 days. They print them to order, which is great. And then
Oh,
you
cool.
have this little Amazon, what's it called, Kindle loyalty program.
Yeah.
There's a pitching at the end. You know, as Kelly Ellis, we love you if you're listening. Kelly Ellis called it mailbox money, and it's mailbox
I
mailbox money.
love mailbox money. I love
She coined
Kelly.
that phrase.
We're getting ready. We have Cabus next week, and then I think, are you going to High Point? High Point's early this year. It's April
Yes,
2nd.
yes. I've been working with the most beautiful Serena Martin, who we all love and adore, and she's
Yeah, yeah,
working
yeah.
production now. So I'm going to do something with I believe with Jason. We're going to do like bringing luxury overseas, because the challenges of bringing luxury overseas.
Let me
Even though
know. I haven't booked anything yet. Let me know where you're staying, and we can get an Airbnb or something.
yes,
Because I haven't
I
booked
have a
anything.
problem with Airbnbs in North Carolina, because one time, years and years ago, before all the internet and everything, the High Point used to put people in people's homes, and they would organize it through IHFC, right?
Yeah,
And I walked into this apartment, and all of a sudden my throat started to close up, and I never realized I had such a big allergy to cats. So I said, there's been a
I'm the
cat
same
in here.
way.
So we couldn't stay anywhere. So I opened the windows in the bedroom, and I started, we had to call 911 because my throat was closing up. And then I called the woman and I said, is there any place else we can go? And you know what she said? Oh, I wish you'd have told me, because I left my cat in the closet. She had locked, okay, so it had bifold doors on the closet. So the cat was literally 5 feet from me, 3 feet from me in the closet. She'd locked the cat in the closet with the food and the kitty litter for the weekend. Oh my God. I should have called
I've had
HCA.
every time I go to High Point, I have some strange experience. One time we were in a hotel and there was a rock concert going on under my room, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. Well, then I called the front desk and I'm like, why is there some sort of concert going on downstairs? And they go, oh, that's Donny Osmond. He's performing for the Hall of Fame. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And then the time after that, we stayed in an Airbnb, and that was in that year, High Point got hit by a tornado, and I got stuck
Oh,
in
I
the
remember
left
that.
bank
Yeah,
showroom. And
right.
then next year, High Point got hit by a freaking hurricane, and we barely had power. And it's never a dull moment at High Point.
Well, no, I mean, basically, you've got a small, sleepy town that has maybe 60 or 70,000 people in it, if that. And
Yeah,
then twice a year, it has 200,000 people descend on it. So it's just
yeah,
all those things that, I mean, they're used to it, obviously, and they love it. But it's all these, anything that can go wrong will, yeah, can and
yeah.
will.
Well, I'm excited. Mention it to Serena, but yeah, I want to see you, and we'll plan something. But me and Heather are coming down for that, and I think I'm bringing Gary. So no, because my team doesn't understand what happens at High Point. Hayden calls it the underground furniture market, because he just knows that we go to this weird city and everybody's there, but nobody knows where it's at. And he goes, "There's all this furniture that nobody knows about."
Well,
Um,
it should be called High Point, the Underbelly. Remember that show on Sydney, the Underbelly? No, I'm
yeah,
telling
yeah.
you, and people like, because Alex is like, why, a lot of people don't understand the importance of these trade shows, and it's the
No,
importance of every trade show, whether you're a drug rep and you sell fake tits, or what, I don't know why I thought of that. I thought of one of my girlfriends who sells those
I
silicone
mean,
wax.
if it's not us there being gay, everybody that, I don't want to say everybody, but most of the women there are all blonde, and they do have fake tits. So they would do. We were the last market we were at. We were upstairs, and they had a cosmetic surgery booth literally set up, because designers were all pretty much narcissistic.
I
And
actually got the facial there. They were
yeah,
doing serums under the eye. And it was the craziest thing. It was in
yeah,
marketplace. Yeah.
yeah, that's hilarious.
Anyway, no.
Well,
So I mean, getting back to the importance of these trade shows, everybody, is that you all get together with everyone who does the same thing that you do, and you share information, and it's key. I've noticed it's the same with realtors. Whenever there's 2 or 3 realtors in a room, there'll be a deal that happens because, oh, I didn't know that you got something off market, blah blah blah, and it's like
yeah,
it's a cross references of information, and
You
also
learn so much from everybody too. You learn
and
so much from
seeing all the
people in our
furniture. I mean,
industry.
walking into Uttermost or walking into you walk into Pallet Check and have it's like you ejaculate when you walk. I do at least in Pallet Check. I mean, it takes a lot for me to do that over furniture, but I mean,
God.
it's so gorgeous. I mean, to see everything, especially in things that you like Pallet Check has got the most. I mean, it's divine. And now they've got these new lighting fixtures that are like little. Did you see? It's like round and it's got straw coming out of the top, and like, and it comes in black. And I'm like, I'm just looking at it, and I literally have to take it in for a moment. And it's moments like that, Daniel Russo, that
Yeah,
we realize why we're
I
into
know.
it. Because we live and breathe beautiful things. We need
We
something like
do.
each
And I
other.
can't wait to see you. Thank you so much for coming on
Very
today.
welcome, everyone. Thank you.
Again, everybody make sure you visit the House of Barrie, HOUSEOFBARRIE.com, and check out his amazing stuff and download his book on Amazon. Can't talk today. But I'm going to call you soon. Thank you so much for coming on the Design
You're welcome.
Exchange. Do you have
Thank
an
you, everybody.
Instagram?
We hope you've
Do you,
enjoyed it. Thank you
what's your
again.
Instagram so people can follow your work?
Oh, it's either it's Barrie Livingstone Designer or House of Barrie.
Yeah, and Livingstone, Living
STONE.
STONE. I still have you saved in my phone as the wrong thing. I just have you as Barrie Livingston. And I don't know why I have it like that, but I have to fix it. But thank you so much. And we are going to have you back on here soon. And I cannot wait to see you in April.
Yes, I look forward to it too. Happy New
All
Year,
right.
everyone. Have a wonderful 2022.
Yes. Thank you. Happy New Year to you. I can't wait. I'm coming to Cabo or wherever you are in Mexico to warm
You
up.
better.
I will. All right.
Bye.
Love you guys. Bye.